next morning, the doctor come in and said, well, I have some bad news for you, George. And I said, well, lay it on me. And he told me, he says, you have cancer in the prostate real bad. And he says on one side, from a 1 to a 10, it's a 10. On the other side, it's a 9. And he says, you don't have, so your time is short.
And they said that they could not operate because the moment they opened it up and the air hit it, it would spread like fire. And so they said, the only thing we can do for you now is to disconnect the testicles, because the testosterone is what makes it grow. And so you just cut off the fuel from the fire. And so they did that, and they told him that he would have a 50% chance of living 3 years with this type cancer. And they said at that time, if it starts to grow again, they said they do periodic blood tests, and they can tell from the blood if it starts to grow. And they said at that time, if it started growing, then they would give him a choice of what kind of treatment he would want, if any. He said, if we explain to you the side effects of the treatments, you may not want to take them. You may just want to take your chances. And then 8 months ago, we met Calvin, and of course I'm the most skeptical person on earth, I guess, because I thought all the time, I said, this is a scam, but I'll let him find out for himself. This is a scam. I know it is. It's going to cost $1 million. But after he talked to us and we saw all the research that had been done, and it wasn't going to cost us $1 million, then he said, well, we'll try it. It's all natural substances and couldn't hurt.
They told me that the last time I went up there, they felt that the growth is going, getting smaller. That was just his opinion. And I had a lot of problems with my lymph glands. I couldn't, when I'd stand, I couldn't get my arms wouldn't come down. And then at night when you sleep, I couldn't sleep I could only sleep on my back. I couldn't sleep on my side, on either side. And I started taking that medicine, and well, before that, I'd put pillows between my legs and everything. Nothing worked. I mean, I was just miserable. And so after that, well, I started taking this medicine, and believe it or not, I can sleep on either side. I can sleep on my right side, my left side, and I can sleep on my stomach. There's no problem. And I just feel real good. I just feel good about the whole thing.
Medical Sciences treatments have also been used in cases of breast cancer.
My name is Penny Miner. I'm 27 years old. When I was 22, I went to the doctor because I had lumps underneath my arm and they were hurting. For about 6 months, I had slept with pillows underneath each arm, sitting straight up in bed, and the doctors finally told me that what I had was some kind of a fibrocystic disease, and they weren't sure about it being malignant cancer or anything. So I went in and I had a couple of them tested. They found out that there was a malignancy, and they scheduled me to have surgery. And I went in and I had my surgery. I had a bilateral subcutaneous mastectomy. And while I was on the operating table, they came into some big problems, and I don't know exactly what happened. I just know that they had told me that I died on the table for 3 minutes and 27 seconds. They thought I was going to be retarded because I had been out for so long. It took them 4 hours to bring me back, and when I finally came back and they got me together again, they told me I was going to have to come back in the hospital in about 2 weeks, as soon as I got my strength back, to have the surgery finished, because they hadn't gotten all the cancer, excuse me, because of the fact that they had to stop the operation. They put the implants in and sent me back to my room. Well, I talked to the doctors before I decided to go back in and have something else done, and I asked them what would happen if I didn't go in, and they told me I'd be dead before I was 28. And I asked them what my chances were of coming off the table alive this time instead of having problems like I did before, and they said that my chances were 50-50. Well, I have 2 kids. At the time, they were 1 and 2. And there's no way that I was going to take a chance on going back in the operating table. So I told them just to forget it. I went in January because I had another lump come up, and I didn't know what it was. I'm back to the doctor. He put me in the hospital, did surgery. What he told me was that I had scar tissue from my previous surgery, and I had some lymph nodes and everything that he took out, and I was in there 3 hours, and I should have only been in there for 30 minutes, and it was an extensive operation, but I was doing fine. But he couldn't, and I had cancer prior to that. And I'm doing great.
We asked Penny what she thought would have happened had she not taken the Medical Sciences medication.
Well, I'd be probably bedridden by now. The doctors told me I'd be dead before my 28th birthday, and my daughter's going to be 8 on Friday, and I'm going to be here to see it. It's a good feeling.
Penny Miner and the others featured in this presentation have experienced positive results in spite of conditions that have long perplexed the medical profession. The treatments they and others have successfully used are products of Medical Sciences Incorporated. Medical Sciences is an early-stage medical technology company developing products for the treatment of arthritis, psoriasis, cancer, and AIDS.
Dealt in a deeply personal way with the dilemma their film addresses. Choosing a therapy for her was confusing, paralyzing, anguishing, sometimes enraging. On the one hand, the doctors held little hope that they would have a cure for her. On the other hand, they were resistant to the many alternative approaches. They seemed to have a definite and sincere point of view, and yet they seemed to know so little about these other therapies. I had to wonder, if a cancer cure were discovered outside of formal medical institutions, would these doctors ever know about it? Would it ever reach the general public? Of course it would, you might say, but consider this. There are scores of alternative cancer clinics around the world claiming high success rates. Yet most of these treatments have been banned in the United States or driven out of the country without an investigation. Why? The dissident practitioners say that it has to do with medical politics, that their medical point of view is being suppressed. There is a disturbingly similar pattern that actually does run through most of their stories. To get to the heart of the dilemma, we have chosen to look in depth into one of these alternative clinics because the story of the Hoxsey cancer treatment is a classic case history of these medical politics. Many patients believe the Hoxsey treatment cures cancer.
She had had one breast removed, and then later they found cancer in the other breast, and they wanted to take the other one off, and she wouldn't allow it. But of course she was getting worse, and like I said, she heard her family planning her funeral, and she got up out of her sick bed and said, "Take me to Mexico." So they brought her down here on a wheelchair, and now she looks great, and she feels great, and she's fine. And they had given her just a few weeks to live.
I had 3 friends in Colorado who had come down here, and they all 3 had cancer. And some of them were told they had a short period of time. Now that's been anywhere from 4 to 10, 12 years ago. They're still alive today.
So in talking to a friend, she said, well, if you have melanoma, you really ought to go to Hoxsey. They're really great on that. So that was 3.5 years ago.
My father died of cancer, my brother-in-law died of cancer, one of our best friends at Yakima died of cancer, and they all went the operation, chemotherapy, radiation route. They are all dead. But the people we know so many people who have come here, and they're still alive.
I decided that I was not going to take chemotherapy. I was not going to take radiation. I told my doctor that. I said, I'll die first. I'd just soon go out. But none of that. Because I've had friends I've seen what happened to them. But when they mentioned Hoxie to me, I lit up. I said, hey, let's go.